Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of TCS Student News. I'm your host Sean, here with
Garrett and Jacob.
Let's get right into the news. As Saudi Arabia pushes back against international pressure that it played a role in the disappearance of a journalist, analysts are warning there could be fallout for global oil markets. Relations between the kingdom and some parts of the international community have deteriorated rapidly after Jamal Khashoggi, a journalist who resided in the U.S., disappeared earlier this month after visiting the Saudi consulate located in Istanbul. Turkey believes Khashoggi was killed inside the building and his body removed. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia's capital and main financial hub, has dismissed the claims. United States President Donald Trump said on Saturday that there would be severe punishment for Saudi Arabia if it turned out that Khashoggi was killed in the consulate, with Saudi Arabia saying it would retaliate to possible economic sanctions over the case. The stock market in Saudi Arabia plunged on Sunday, and analysts believe that oil could be the next to be affected. Oil prices already rose on Monday during the Asian trade. The United States oil supply is set to fall after the U.S. sanctions on Iran kick in next month, and the Trump administration had been relying on Saudi Arabia, one of the world's largest oil producers, to maintain supply and curb surging prices. If the Saudi Arabian situation deteriorates any further, this could pose a conundrum for Trump.
The Trump administration is considering using West Coast military bases or other federal properties as transit points for shipments of U.S. coal and natural gas to Asia. As officials seek to bolster the domestic energy industry and circumvent environment oppositions to fossil fuel exports, the proposal will advance the administration's agenda of establishing American energy dominance on the world stage and undergoes willingness to intervene as markets to make that happen. In an interview with the Associated Press, Zink casted the proposal as a matter of national security to ensure that U.S. allies have access to affordable fuels. The Trump administration has also cited national security as justification for keeping domestic coal-burning power plants online to prevent disruption of electricity supplies. Zink said the administration is interested in partnering with private entities to ship coal or liquefied natural gas through naval installations or other federal facilities. He added it's still in the early process. With the U.S. coal export marketing booming in the recent months, Adelina said any new ports established by the government would quickly fill with coal for shipment overseas. Yet with demand expected to fall over the long term, particularly in Europe, the high prices for coal are expected to drop. Montana, Wyoming, and other 4 states joined Lighthouse Resources in a lawsuit challenging the rejection of the company's Millennium Bulk Terminal port, which could handle up to 48.5 million tons of coal a year. Republican U.S. Senator Steve Daines of Montana said Zink was looking at all possibilities for export terminals, including West Coast military installations. Coal exports to Asia more than doubled in 2017, according to the Energy Information Administration. The rise continued in the first half of 2018 with almost 23 million tons of U.S. coal exported to Asian nations through June. South Korea, Japan, and China were among the biggest recipients. Despite those increases, the U.S. holds only a small share of more than 1 billion tons of coal shipped annually by sea. Clark Williams Dairy, the Sciline Institute, a left-leaning think tank based in Seattle, said there's little chance of that changing in the long term.
In our news, several of the wildfires that left stunning damage while ripping across California wine country
last fall were caused by power lines, poles, and other equipment owned by Pacific Gas and Electric Company. Weather conditions ripened for another blaze on Sunday. The Utah, which has already been blamed for billions in fire damage, took an unprecedented step. Pacific Gas and Electric said it would be preemptively turn off the power altogether in some parts of the state. The shutoff was initially scheduled to begin around 5 p.m. local time for about 70,000 customers who live in the Sierra foothills, an inland slice of Northern California east of Sacramento. The National Weather Service has issued advisories warning the high winds in the Sierra foothills on Sunday and Monday that could have gusts up to 55 miles per hour. Weather officials have also issued a red flag warning which signals critical fire weather conditions.
On our next story, we are going to the Koreas. Both North and South Korea agreed to reconnect railroads that have been cut off since the Korean War. This would be another step in improving the relationship that has raised U.S. concern about the possible undermining to press North Korea to give up its nuclear program. The talks of reconnecting railroads came during talks in Panmunjom aimed at following up on the third summit this year between North and South Korea. Other agreements the two Koreas made in talks included hosting the 2032 Olympic Games, exploring ways to restart webcam reunions and video exchanges for families separated during the Korean War, the halting of military exercises, a no-fly zone near the border, and the gradual removal of landmines and guard posts within the demilitarized zone, and reforestation. The U.S. thinks that the thaw in ties between the neighbors may be outpacing negotiations to dismantle the North's nuclear and missile programs.
Now moving on to TCS News. We want to wish two of our fellow students a happy birthday. Donald Lacey, who turned 18 last Thursday, and Cameron Weinbrenner, who turned 15 on Monday. We hope you two had a great birthday.
Last Thursday, the community school held a sponsor meeting where we discussed a variety of important topics. We talked about fundraising for the Bull Roast and the Evergreen Sale, the habits and status of students in the school, tuition, sponsor engagement, a possible potluck dinner, and we talked about important features on the website everyone can use. We want to thank all who came to the sponsor meeting, and we want to remind you that the next meeting will be on December the 6th. We can't wait to see you there.
On Tuesday, the juniors and seniors had a science lab brought up by CSI. Our first lab focused on population growth. During the lab, we used dice to represent the population. If we rolled a 1, that represented a death, and we took out that dice. If we rolled a 5 or 6, that represented a birth, and we added a dice to the population. For a second part of the lab, we focused on acid rain and its effects. We used sulfuric acid and an apple slice. It didn't do much to the apple since it is acidic, but the acid in the petri dish started bubbling and steaming, showing how dangerous it is. We learned acid rain can destroy habitats and could lead to loss of biodiversity. We really enjoyed the lab and can't wait till the next one.
We want to give a special thanks to Destiny's sponsor, Destiny, running sponsor, and Donald Lacey for working hard over the weekend to clean our school. They worked for hours to make the school look spotless, and they deserve to be recognized. Thank you all once again for making this school better for everyone.
At TCS, everyone at TCS would like to send a special thanks to Miss Carol, who brought in a delicious chicken pasta dish. Mimi and Poppy, who brought in a van full of pantry supplies. Then for lunch we had subs, macaroni salad, and the cupcakes for dessert. Miss Rachel, Olivia's mom, brought in baked ziti, salad, and cookies. Finally, we would like to thank Miss Peggy, who brought in pulled pork sandwiches with salad and fruit. Thank you all for contributing and providing us with lunch. We all enjoyed it.
We interviewed Miss Peg on Tuesday and asked her about why she came to this school and why she continues to contribute to our school. Miss Peg was diagnosed with breast cancer 15 years ago. After overcoming breast cancer, she was looking for a place to give back. Her sister introduced her to Mr. Tom and loved everything what the school is about. After a few years working with the school, she decided to retire from her job in Delaware to contribute more to the school and make a lunch every week for all the students. Miss Peg believed that you should always give back no matter how much or little you have. Her favorite part about working at TCS is all the students she has met, became friends with, and watching all of the students grow and become successful in life. We all want to give a huge thanks to Miss Peg for a major donation to the school. Thank you, Miss Peg, for everything you have contributed to TCS to help us grow. We appreciate all your time you have given to the school over the last 14 years.
And that is all the news stories we have for this week. We want to thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you in next week's edition of TCS Student News. Bye.
Bye.